in. Make yourself comfortable. Hopefully, if you got kids, they in the bed. That's why I said it for 9 p.m. Hola, my Nikita. We'll be getting started here in a minute. Okay, yeah, 9 my time. 9 Central Standard Time. Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. Gotcha. And let me know what group, what age group you're in. If you don't want to put your age, let me know if you're a millennial, if you a Gen Z, you know, who is you? All right, 35 bet. I sent an invite.
That's me.
Thank you. I sent an invite. You are more than welcome to join. Thank you, Yazi. We'll be starting here in just a moment. Summertime. Last week, this is our second episode. Last week, we had a really good turnout. Very good conversation. Last week's conversation, to give you all a recap, we talked about beauty standards within the Black community. We talked about, you know, where all that came from. You know, dealing with hair, dealing with colorism. You know, was it acceptable in your house? Was like natural hair accepted in your house, or how much will you push to assimilate? So that's what we talked about. So this week really was a spinoff from last week, because we did end up touching on interracial marriages, right? And people gave their takes. So I had asked a question last week. We were talking about Venus and Serena. And I said, you know what? Facts. I hear you. Facts. So we had a question. I asked a question. I said, well, if you were Venus and Serena's father, and you know, you guided them, you did all those things, and both of your daughters go up to marry white men, I asked, how would you feel about it? What would be your thought process? As I asked the parents in a room, you know, and even if you're not a parent, you still can imagine a scenario and see how you would feel. Just wire that up. So that's what we talked about last week. This to be pretty good. It's kind of blurred. Yeah, it's better. It's better. Yeah. So this week we picking up where we left off. We talking about you know, interracial marriages, and I don't see color. So those are our topics. All right. So we're gonna get ready to transition. Let me play the. Here we go. There. And into this.
Deep down in the wells of your soul.
Yeah.
Remove all them blockages, cause it's messing up your flow. Tap into that place. Wash away all the old. Sanitize this space. Baptize your face. Time to let that shit go. Cause it's old now. It's old now. Time to let that shit go now. You can grow now. Deuce, then deuce side. Release it.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta release it.
You've been giving it supply infinite. You feel better when you start giving it. God gave life, but you ain't living it. Shift, get villain, it's real. All I might feel, you need that release, that freeze up. chill. Holding on heavy, your mind might lie. Tell you that the pain is real. It's the power you provide, and I take that back and guard it close. Nobody deserve it, don't let it go. Do yourself a service, love you early, don't wait before they show hate. Anchor your state, take the power back that you gave away. Then take the power up, stand firm, don't sway. The most high lift up every day. Deep down in the wells of your soul. Remove all them blockages, cause it's messing up your flow. Tap into that place, wash away all the old. Sanitize this space, baptize your face. Time to let that shit go, cause it's old now. It's old now. Time to let that shit go now. You can go now. Deuce, then deuce, release it.
Sometimes we got stuff. That's why we unraveling the onion.
I'm a leech and I breathe and I reach in your mind. I be looking for the perfect opportunity and find it. I forever be grinding. I'm the one who roaming through the hood to remind him how his partner got silence, so he can keep it with him every time that he was violence. I do the same on both sides, I have no alliance. I instigate dying, give inspiration so they put it to the song and they rhyme. Supersonic, rhyming, I tell them in the conscience, I'm let it live in the concert. Fans in the stands of conference. I'm the captain of the grudges. Disable your ability for love, make you doubt who you trust, make you wonder when the world in your suffering. Cause nigga, I hate you. But I let her wear a play. And the beat of your heart so good with the rhythm. Revenge tastes sweet, you gotta speak truth, nigga, me too. Respect the craving for misbehaving. Let them who's feeling cling to me. And depart from God. I'm that voice inside saying hell no. We ain't letting that ride. No, I am a wolf God. Let me be your God. Nigga, I'm your pride. Hop aside, I step aside. Nigga, choose tonight. I am none other than unforgiveness. Now let me tip back to my business. My nigga down in the wells of your soul. Remove all them blockages, cause it's messing up your flow. Tap into that place. Wash away all the old. Sanitize this space. Baptize your face. Time to let that shit go, cause it's old now. It's old now. Time to let that shit go now. You can grow now.
All right. Shalom. I am your host, Emmanuel Dawson, and we're gonna go ahead and get it going. We're about 3 minutes early, but it's all good. We can go ahead and get it cracking right now. So tonight's topic, what we are talking about is, and I'm sure people will come in as we get the conversation going, but we'll go ahead and start it right now. And thank you for being so patient. For those who are with me right now, I really appreciate you. Thank you, Nikita. I'm glad you love this song. That's my release it. It'll be coming to you soon, but that is our intro song. I think it is so appropriate when we're talking about release it, because we got to let go of that old stuff. So tonight's topic is interracial marriage. So when we're dealing with interracial marriages, what is it? So I'm gonna jump off the show, and I'm gonna get it going here, and I'm gonna talk about what my thought process is. What my thought process is that it is no cultural boundaries, right? It is a flattening of cultural boundaries, right? So when you don't have boundaries, when you don't have any cultural boundaries, it becomes easy to assimilate to whomever and whatever. Right. And so even the pictures that we have here, they're a mutual assimilation. What keeps the boundaries? Culture. Right. Have a rooted culture, then you're bound to be bound by anything. Right. And so we can see that in different ways. We can see that within the Asian culture, right? Because they have a very low divorce rate, which is from what I researched, they have the lowest. And I want to make this disclaimer as well. I want to make the disclaimer that what I speak is my thought process, right? I could be wrong on some things. I could be right on some things. If I find that I'm wrong, I'll stand corrected. If I'm not wrong, I won't. I'm going to stand on what I stand on. But I'm a human being, so therefore I make mistakes. But these are the thoughts that I have, and I'm looking forward to hearing the thoughts from you all to see what the process is. So feel free to chime in. So my thought process on interracial dating, like when we look at the Indian culture, right? Because we have the tendency to be some of the most non-biased people, right? People can be biased towards us all day, but in a job interview or on the job from my experience, we'll be harder towards each other just because we want to show that we're loyal to the system and that we don't choose bias, right? And I get it. I understand, because we've been treated with such bias all throughout time that we don't want to project it. We don't want to do others to others what they have done to us, because we know how it feels when we're going for a job interview or whatever the case may be. But so that's but it is what it is. We have a tendency to be harder on each other than anybody else. We have a tendency to treat each other a certain type of way more so than anybody else. And we see that throughout culture, right? When we think about last episode, we touched on the roasting culture. Right? Roasting culture, all of our cultures seem to have these negative nuances to it when it comes to how we deal with one another, right? We have the battle rap culture, right? We have the roasting culture, right? When we see somebody, I just finished watching Godfrey, and he was highlighting the comments people were talking about Beyonce and her being old and she need to hang it up and everything like that. But at the same time, you see cat name that smokes weed, Willie Nelson. He's like 100 years old, right? But nobody says anything to him. And then we have all of these older rock groups, and they're appreciated within our culture, but we don't really have that. We don't do that. So with that being said, we can clearly see that we got wiped clean when it came to slavery, right? Jeremiah. This is on the fly. This is an on the fly thought of mine. But in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and 4, it says, "And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever." You can see that we got ripped of all of that heritage. So because we lack boundaries, we are easily assimilated to other people, right? And that's where a lot of our interracial dating comes from. And I'm not really talking about something to do with color. I'm not talking about colorism, right? Because people have the tendency to think of that, or people have the tendency to think that if you want to stay within your nationality, people, they relate it to a level of hatred instead of a love for self, right? They relate it to hatred for others, or you can't hate others. And then we kind of get a lot of rhetoric that goes along with that. When there's no hate involved, it's involved for self, right? So even when we look at the scriptures, we understand that there is a division, right? And I kind of see this principle being echoed. So the principle that I see being echoed is that the child that comes as a result of that interracial marriage has to deal with the consequences or the lifestyle that comes with being split or torn between two separate groups. Okay, and I'm gonna give you an example. Leviticus 24 and 10. Let me get it right quick. Leviticus 24 and 10. It says, "And the son woman whose father was an Egyptian went out among the children of Israel, and this son of the Israelitish woman and a man of Israel strove together in the camp." Now I'm going to break this down. I know I read it fast, but I'm going to break it down so I can land my plane, so I can hear from some of you all. So this reads, "He went out as he came out from Moses' court after a ruling." The ruling was about camp placement. See, you have to understand, he had an Egyptian father, right? If we read down, he had right? So because lineage was determined by the father, he was a mixed breed. He had an Israelite mother, right? The mother was Israelite, right? But he had an Egyptian father. So the way Israel was broken up, the land was given to certain tribes. So there was boundaries there. So even though his mother belonged, guess who didn't belong? He did. He didn't belong. So because he didn't belong, you got to think about it. He was more than likely living with his mom, right? Which is perfectly fine. He was living with his mother, but he was in a boundary where he shouldn't have been because there was a clear separation for that land and where they were to abide by, where they had to live. So even though he may look like them in certain ways, even though he probably felt more closer to, right, he still had that Egyptian father, which kind of put him in a different boundary. So you got to think about it. For me, I think about it like this: if I can already perceive what my children will have to deal with, then I'm not going to put them through it, right? I'm just not going to do it. Now, if I did not perceive what I am to put them through, then and I find out later, then it's like, oh, well, son or daughter, you just, that's something that we just gonna have to deal with. Let's root you in Torah, but that's just gonna be a part of life, you know. So here, I got a couple of points, and then I'm gonna land my plane. I want to hear from some other people. He tried to pitch his tent in Dan because his mother was from the tribe of Dan. That tells us that in verse 11. Dan's men challenged his right to be there. The proof text they use is Numbers 2:2. Israel camps by the house of their fathers. His father was Egyptian, right? This isn't about color, okay? This is about culture. Culture keeps people within the boundaries. That's why places like the Indian culture, Shalom, if you're just coming in, join the conversation. That's why with the Indian culture, you don't really see a lot of intermixing within them, even though they do. And then the Indian culture, from what I saw, was like 0.11%, right? Why? Because they have the foundation of culture that they're both standing on. So it says, Vayikra Rabbah carries the same storyline. The rejection placement dispute sits right behind that blow. So secondly, the second example we can see within scripture, the Tanakh, we have Jephthah, which is in Judges 11. Jephthah is an outcast because he's considered to be not a legitimate son, right? So that is my take on it, on that particular portion. Only dealing with the interracial marriage. So if anybody else wants to chime in, you're more than welcome to. Who we got in here? Who we got? Let me see. Let me go. We want to get some joiners. If you want to join us, here we go. Let me send okay.
It's a specific question.
All right. So thought process racial marriages, when you see it, or what has been your experience with it, whether it is the male who is of your same nationality or the same nationality, when they get married to somebody of an outside the nationality, what has been your personal experiences with that? So nobody. All right. Well, my personal experience with it is this: most of the time, when it is a black male, he'll not really fool with black women like that. He'll be okay with the brothers, but the black women he don't just fool with like that. And on the opposite end, I feel like it's the same on the opposite end as well. I can't really say for sure, but that has been my experience. What you say?
I'm going the other room.
Okay. Is anybody? Let me see. Go. And Yazi, I know you were saying, earlier. You were saying earlier that you needed clarity on this. What was your thoughts before, or what has been your thoughts up to date? Do you feel like the male would have a stronger cultural influence or the female? Do you feel like you are continuing the bloodline for a woman? How do you feel about that? How do you feel assimilating? When you dated them, when you dated those men, what was your experience?
I was just gonna speak on. Hear me good? So, the first question you asked, you was saying how what you experienced were men white or married to a white woman. He may not really deal too much with black women. So I can speak on like just from what I've heard from other women that like black women that date or marry white men. Some of the feedback that I've heard from them, sometimes it may be where, you know, they just felt safer with the white man. They felt more secure, you know. It's not that they had given up complete. Some of them, it's not that they given up completely on black men. It's just maybe they had just been through so much with the black male, and they just felt. So I don't think they hated
Gotcha.
black men,
Gotcha.
not
Gotcha.
from the conversation or people that I know black men. They just didn't have great experience with.
Right. Gotcha. So that's a great aspect of the conversation as well, is our personal experiences that kind of lead people to go outside of it as well. But it's still this my thing would be, and this is where I would push back. And Yazi, you say you dated a man that was white and a Spanish man. What was your and you said correct. You can go ahead and come off of mute.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Perfect. This is my first time actually speaking on a platform, so this is new. Yes, I I dated a black man for about 10 years. After that, the way he treated me to go back to a black man. So that's why I dated was like black and white or Hispanic. I dated a white guy. He was so sweet, so nice, stuff like that. But it wasn't seeming right. The family was very rude and nasty. He was cool. But then the Hispanic dudes, when you date them, that's a whole nother story. Like they sweet and all, but then they'll treat you a little different because you're not of their kind. But when you actually like it's fun and all, like the relationship goes sweet. I mean, if you have kids with them, they kind of come out, mixed. So half of this, half of that. And it's nice and all, but I would say, is it the right thing to do? Because when I came into the truth and on the Most High was leading me, like this is not the way to do it, because most of the bad experience was interracial relationships. It was worse than what I had when I had with that black man. Wasn't And it's not all about the color, it's more about how a man treats you, how it all comes, because a white man could treat you really good, a black man could treat you real good, an Hispanic man could treat you real good, even an Asian man. So it's not all about the color, but it is about you being equally yoked by somebody. It is about you following the Father and letting the Father lead you, but also you do want to stay into your and within your group, um and then actually going out your culture and out your breed. in a sense.
Yeah, I agree. What it sounds like is that there is a level of, I don't know, trauma, us for speaking on the testimonials, or your testimony is that we have, you know, black men have maybe not treated our women in the best way, right? Which leads to them like trying to explore other options outside of it. So, quick question, do you feel like you had to tone down your culture to keep that relationship smooth when you were in those relationships?
I wouldn't say I had to turn it down. Not really. Because I was always myself. So I was never a type of person that wear weave and stuff like that. So I always never wear makeup. I was always me. It's just when you go certain places, you get more people to stare because they like, hey, why you with her? You should be with me. You know what I mean? And anytime you're in a relationship and you tell somebody about your past relationship, that man would tend to be the nicest guy ever. Like, oh, I'm never going to push her buttons. But then when, those 90 days go past, you start seeing the true colors and they start being a true snake as they are. But they was hiding that so that you don't see it, so that they can be with you and get anything and everything from you and then blackball you.
Gotcha. So I have another question too. Do you think that mixed marriages becomes more of a pipeline of assimilation? She said it's always at 90 days. Yeah. So yeah, do you think that interracial marriages becomes more of a flattening or an assimilation of culture?
Yes, because if you think about it, the most interracial couples that been married are the highest ones that end up getting a divorce. If you think about it, it's more of the two different cultures that getting a divorce more than the black divorce or the Indian and Indian getting divorced or the white and the white getting divorced. It's more of the biracial getting a divorce because the parents got involved or the thing didn't go as well or as planned. Like it's not gonna last long. They're not equally yoked. They're eye to eye. They're not seeing. Their cultures are very different. That you get with a white woman. She not gonna cook no soul food. She gonna cook country food, not that soul food. So depending on where you go, you know what I mean. You get you a snow bunny. She gonna be good as not and all. You get them Indians. They gonna cook you that Indian food.
Right.
Than most of all of them.
Right.
Indian food fire though.
It is, it
That is
is.
fire.
But imagine you eating that 24/7, 7 day week.
But I don't know. Like the statistics for the divorces on interracial, like white and black marriages, and compared to marriages. And from what I've seen back then, I might have to look it up again. But I mean, the divorce rate was pretty low. It seems like it was like their marriages are thriving a bit more than black on black marriages.
My thought process on that is that they let more bullshit fly. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
What I mean is like
I
there's a certain
agree.
standard. There's a certain things like my daughters. I don't want them wearing this. I don't want them going here and there. And you got to think about it. If you don't really have very many standards or very many parameters, then it's easy to get along with anybody, right? Because you don't really have those boundaries. You know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what I see. What I see is I see an assimilation pipeline. I see where there was right? There was no culture acting as a boundary because the perfect example is I think of Indian marriages, because a lot of them are already arranged marriages, many of them, right? And so they have the culture that they've had for thousands of years, acting as a boundary that they build on, and any nation has to be built by family. Even when we think about how the dollar circulates, we were just talking about this. When I think about how the dollar circulates, even when we look at our stars, right? All the people on this picture up here are stars. It's like once you make it to a certain financial status, right? Then it becomes more like a trophy for you to get, for a black man, for you to get a white woman, right? Like you're graduated, you're done with that. So what happens is that dollar no longer even circulates within your community. You're not even uplifting the community that you came from. It's more of an abandonment to the community that you came from, and that's just facts. You make it out the hood and don't grab some, bless another person from that stock, right? Being able to bless their family come up, and then we kind of interchain and interconnect them, and this is how it happens, right? Or even how, like Yazi, the experiences that you said that you had, right? Like the family wasn't really accepting of you. They kind of got this thing, right? Because they understand, like, we want the culture to remain us. And people typically deal with each other, even, you know, people typically deal with each other when it's surface. I'm not saying it's not surface, but in my experience, people deal with each other better when they look like them, right? And last week we brought this up, and this week I'll say it too. Like Bob Marley, the Marley family are basically, as far as I know, are European or Gentile, more stock. They had Bob Marley's father was white, right? But his mother was a very dark skinned woman. Fast forward, you have all of these people that look but they and relate more to black people because that's what they look like. So that is my my experience. So another question: in your relationship, who is the default culture in the public space? Like in the public space, when you go out to public spaces, who has it culture? How does that dynamic work, or how have you experienced it to work, or how have you seen that work in other spaces? Absolutely agree, Ozzy. I see you wrote that over here. So, and how did it come to? Now, I asked that question, and how did it come to families defending you? I mean, the spouse of another nationality, did they defend you in front of the family?
Like being in, like, for instance, my daughter's dad, he's half white and half Hispanic, right? Ship, the first year was good, the second year was bumpy, the third year was good, and then it was dead. But my mom was approved of it. My uncles didn't. His mom loved me. The relationship was like really good. It's just certain areas we went, people will look at us differently, um, and stuff. But there's a lot of different looks. People will talk, bad about us or stuff like that. But in reality, like everything was, pretty much kind of cool. But what I will say is like a lot of us, we tend, and the main reason why I choose to even be in that situation was because of my past. Being in a relationship with somebody treated me, and I'm like, well, this man is treating me better. You know what I mean? He's doing this and he's doing that. So he's treating me a lot better. And since he's treating me better, I gotta walk out of my culture because I see it on social media all the time. These two people doing it together. Maybe these black men don't know how to treat their women nicely because they had a bad relationship with their parents and they're looking at their moms a certain way. So they feel like they want to tend that and make women be less than because they see it on TV. So when they downgrade us, but the white man is praising us and the Hispanic man, Indians is praising us, so we're going to go run to them. But then when the white man and Hispanic man be seeing how the black men do us wrong, they start doing us wrong. And now we're in defense. And now we're like, hey, or should we go to this person? Because now we getting chewed up no matter which way we go. Because we're going based off of men going based off of things off of TV on how these celebrities treat women by downgrading us, calling us names and stuff like that. By the way we dress, the way we carry ourselves and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Definitely. I can see that. I think what you're pointing to is a deeper issue of parenting, right? Knowing that Black people have a lot of brokenness within their homes. So it makes me question, like, for instance, for me, my issue was I wasn't around my mother that much, right? Me and my mother, me and my mother have a great relationship, but I was around, my mother had me every other weekend, right? So that's 2 every 14 days, 1/7 of the time, right? And then the other time that I was around my mom was, that my mom had me was during the summer. But during the summer, I was pretty much just playing video games and playing basketball and stuff like that. I was in my own world. So it wasn't just an active role there, right? So I had mainly my father. So for the longest time, for me, I would say I was probably I was more insensitive because my father was just disciplined and he was very straight and structured, and still now I'm very straight and structured and pretty straightforward. You know what I mean? Like, but that makes me think on even a lot of these cases, what was uh what was the relationship with the parent? Not to say that it stems directly from that. I can't necessarily say that because you know is on here, and I'm pretty sure. I think he had both his parents growing up, right? He had a Black wife initially, but then he moved away from that. He married the white chick or whatever. And so I can't say that that's the case for all of them, but it does make me question that. We're dealing with deeper issues because with Black men, with men in general, they have to see some level of example, right? They have to see their father treating their mother well, or a man treating a woman well, or vice versa. And a lot of our examples come from, like you said, it comes from TV or some form of media, whether that is music. Music is a big one, especially within hip hop, even R&B. At least a lot of the R&B, it's not something where women are just respected. Women are taught as an item of sex, right? And then even if you move a little bit more, if you move into the culture of pornography, right? Pornography plays a key part in how a man treats a woman. So with that running as rampant as it is, or that type of cultural norm, is going to be hard for anybody of any nation to treat a woman well. But I would say especially within us, because the family structure is often so broken. Right, right. Yazi said,
And I just want to, what you just mentioned, you said Michael Jordan and him originally having a black wife. And then now, is it now that he,
yeah, correct. He got him a young white woman.
Yeah. So, I mean, we see that quite often, where the athletes or just black entertainers, period, where they may have started off with a black woman, but once they get big, they end up going marry a white woman. So, I mean, definitely us seeing, I don't know if that plays, I can't speak for black men, but I'm sure that probably plays a part where, they saw that growing up, where all of the athletes and the people they look up to, once they get on, they get money, they go and take a white wife or, Asian or something else other than bringing that black woman with them to, you know, build within our culture, our community, and everything. So I definitely think media also with the interracial some of the men choices. I don't think too much that the black women is choosing white men based like in that same direction. I think it's more of a safety thing that they may be choosing white men, but it seems like it's something else that black men decide on when it comes to once they have money, they leave their community and go in women as if that is, a better status to have a white woman on their side.
Yeah, I agree with you. It does seem like a status symbol. Like once you reach a certain fame or dynamic, yeah, it's like once you get to a certain financial status, it's time to switch. You know what I'm saying? Like it's time to switch. And I don't know why that is. The only thing that I can think of is that there was never really an anchor, right? There's nothing. It still goes back to cultural foundation, right? Having the foundation of culture acts as the boundaries to be able to keep you within that culture, right? If you are experiencing, you got to think about it, right? Most of the people that we have on this thing, I would bet money that all of them celebrate Christmas, right? So I'm just using this as an example. Because they celebrate Christmas, there becomes a commonality within the cultural norm, right? When somebody made a post the other day, just today, and they were talking about Dr. Martin Luther King, right? And they were because of financial, and I was like, because of the financial freedom we have now, and I was like, hold on, before Dr. King did what he did, when we had segregation, our dollar rotated within the community for months, if not years. After integration, our dollar rotates within our community for approximately 6 hours. So I don't think it did us any good because after segregation, what we got was more assimilation. We assimilated more within business, more within patronizing. We assimilate more within culture. Everything it erased the line, right? If you are you know deal with Tarzan. Tarzan was raised around animals, wolves. In his mind, he was a wolf. It took human beings to come about to tell him that he wasn't a wolf, that he was a man, and to teach him how to act separate from animals because he was a man. And what we don't have within our cultural norm is somebody teaching us how to act as ourselves because it got wiped. Segregation was that last parameter that we had that kept us in some type of cultural boundaries, right? I was watching Dr. Claude Anderson, and he was telling he was like on Breakfast Club or something like that, and he was telling a story and about after he was saying during segregation we had our own bus companies, we had our own taxi companies, we had our own ice companies. Why? Because we were forced to, right? And anything that starts out, if you look at this live right now, there's one, two, maybe three people on here right? It starts out small. That's for anything that you start off with. So when we talking about us being in segregation and our school systems, so started off small, they wouldn't have stayed there. It's impossible. It's impossible. We would have built up enough economic strength to be able to rise up and have our own teachers, our own education, our own curriculum, our own everything. But we fought for assimilation. That's what we fought for. We fought for integration. Instead of building our own table, we fought to sit at a table that didn't even want our asses there in the first place, to be honest. You understand? I think this is the mindset that kind of permeates those who are susceptible to it, right? Not everybody's mindset is susceptible to it, but some people are susceptible to it on a different level. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is they may not have interracial marriage, but they may integrate themselves as far as culturally. When Easter comes up and Sunday church comes up and Christmas comes up, and St. Patrick's Day and 4th of July, they right there, right? But they'll swear to you how black they are. Oh, they blackity black, black, black. They got all the culture in the world. But when it comes down to it, they have assimilated their mind and their thinking in other ways outside of interracial. They've integrated themselves, right? So I think that's kind of like my thought process on it. What do you all think? Jazzy, you say you agree. I think integration did us a great disservice, to be honest. And that's just my thought. Especially because the scripture says that we're supposed to be a holy people. That means segregated. That means have our own. And had we done that, we would have been had all this time, this equity built into our businesses. But Dr. Claude Anderson, what he said was, he said after integration, he saw a man walking across the street because there was this place you can get ice, right? And it was black owned. But this man was coming from a white owned establishment. And he asked him, why are you getting that ice from there? He said, because it's colder. Because it's colder. So it's like this. We have this mindset about ourselves that we are inferior. You understand? And I understand we judge those things based off of the lack of knowledge of who we are. You understand? Things based off of our experiences, right? But unless we are anchored in the Torah, unless we're anchored in the scriptures, it's going to be for us to become assimilated with anything because we've all done it. We've all done it at some point in time, and then we begin to wake up. You understand? We weren't having norms. Many of us were not. You understand what I'm saying? So let me see here. Give me one moment. Let me pull up something here. And where we coming from? Where you from, Yazi? Oh, Yazi, I remember you said Atlanta. All right. Give me one moment. So from what I'm hearing from you all, it was mainly for the women is mainly a cultural thing. And another thing, I've come across some cats who feel like they're not gonna die alone So they'd rather, if a white woman is the woman that is accepting them and giving them, some level of camaraderie, then that's the direction that they're gonna go. So I think that go ahead.
I would say this. If you think about it, most men, especially melanated men, and us black women, we would not put up with a lot of crap, like the disrespect, the cheating, all that. So when they get with a white woman or anybody else, white woman will buy their things, pay their rent, stuff like that. And not only that, they'll sit there and be okay with the cheating. They'll be okay with the man to do whatever he wants, cleaning, don't want to help out with nothing, don't want to help out with the bills. But these men, they will tend to downgrade us. But when we say something, it's like, oh, here you go. You want to raise your voice at us. You want to sit here and do this. But then the other culture, they'll keep their mouth shut and they'll allow the man to do whatever he wants and be able to not pop off at the mouth when the man is disrespecting us women as a black woman. So then they tend to decide to go with another race because they could do whatever they want freely with no problem, easily. And his Snow Bunny will cheat them with dimes and rubies, give them everything, but they not gonna feed that man homeschool like the good macaroni and cheese with the baked chicken and know how to give it to them. They'll, be what they want. Marry 3 different men and they can get money from this woman instead of what go with other cultures versus their black women.
Right. Go ahead.
It's totally different for, I can definitely, what she's saying is true. Cause I mean, the expectations that black men hold for a black woman is totally different than what they, do for any other race. So they will accept the white woman, said, Yazi, I mean, she would let them do whatever. And that's what they would call soft. But they would say the black woman is not soft, but usually when they got with the black woman, she was at some point she hit a wall because they wasn't aligned, and so she ended up in some way taking the masculine role because she had to take over on things that the man wasn't doing in his role. So it turned her into that strong woman because she had to survive, and so once they hit that brick wall because they're not aligned, and that's when, in his eyes, she's no longer soft. And that's when he go and look for someone that's just going to accept from him, But even the Latino women, a lot of men would say she's spicy. She can say whatever she want, yell at him, cuss him out, whatever. But if the black woman raises her voice in any way, that's a reason for them to leave the relationship. So, but yeah, the white woman would accept anything. So I can see why some men go that way. And so I guess they just take the easier route instead of understanding we both have traumas and instead of working through them together. Because I mean, like you were saying in the beginning, some of it comes from brought up in households. Some of us didn't have two parents in the home. So, if we were just raised with our mothers, then more than likely we're going to have a certain personality and we're not going to understand the man completely because we didn't see that man in the home treating our mother a certain way. And so it's something, vice versa. That may be the same case for the male. So that's just something that Black people have to come together in their relationship and be more patient into growing together and understanding each other's traumas and working through it together. We become, a mirror in some ways for showing our own unhealed traumas. And so instead of running every time something gets hard and running to the next easiest race that's going to deal with us, we just have to learn it. We have some things we have to unlearn and work together through.
Yeah, and I hear you all. I'm gonna give a little pushback because sometimes with those men, what I've experienced them say is that the Black women just thought that they were corny, right? Maybe they talk more with diction in their voice, or maybe they just not dudes. They don't got that kind of swag about themselves. So they can have good jobs. They can have good, they can be stable. They can be very good men to their women. But sometimes, just like sometimes on their end, perhaps, I'm not saying that's not an aspect. I'm not saying that at all, but perhaps an aspect could be as well is that they just are perceived as corny. I've actually, I've kind of seen that before. They end up going with with I'm just using white chicks here, but they end up going with white women per se, because of them being rejected by sisters. So I think both truths exist simultaneously. So, and there's probably more truths than that, that we haven't put. But I think that is pretty big. I think another big one is, the fact, like we said here, just to switch it up a little bit. But people say I don't see color. All I see is character. And if y'all could just pause right now, if you could share the live. If you haven't shared the live, share the live. Share it on your Facebook. Share it. Thumbs it up. But another thing that people say is I don't see color. What leads people? What is before I weigh in? I want to hear somebody else first. Why do you think people have the attitude that they don't see color? What is your thought process on that? Do you have that same thought process? Do you think in terms where I don't see color? Did you once, if you no longer think like that, did you once think like that? And how did that, tell me about that mindset. How did that pan out? My bad, I didn't know how to do the join, and I had to get some help. Thank you, baby. Here we go. So, have y'all heard it said, I don't see color? Put a thumbs up in the chat if that's something that you heard. What's up, T?
What's up? What's up? Shalom.
Shalom. How you feeling?
Feeling a whole lot better.
Good. Good. Appreciate you following through.
Yeah, man, no problem.
So let me ask you, T, since you just joined, have you heard people say I don't see color? Or something along those lines?
Um, uh, I have. Um, I don't really, I don't really believe it though. I think it's some BS. I ain't gonna lie to you.
This is a grown folks conversation, so you can talk how you want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just some BS. I really do, bro. Cause my main thing, this is what it's all about. I don't see color like interracial marriages, right?
Yeah, I mean, people say that as a segue for that, but people
Yeah,
say that as a pacifier, just period.
right, right. And I believe it, bro. Cause my main thing, man, if you date a white woman, or let's just say a white woman, or you date a white man, you got to think about this, and it goes for brothers and sisters. Think about this when y'all get mad at each other. Yeah, y'all had a couple of little arguments here and there. Yeah, cool. But you got to think in the back of your mind. I mean, you really do. You got to think in the back of your mind, man. Do this person might just call me a. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I hear you.
It's like, or you know, they might just get mad. You know what I'm saying? Just get mad, and it comes out, and it's like, I mean, what in that situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going to happen? You know, that on a woman, that woman might flip out. You know, and it's gonna be a bad situation. You know, even with I've been with a Hispanic, and I don't know, man. It's so many different ways that you can. I mean, I know I think about it, on the terms of, as far as being with a white woman or being with as far as a male. It's like, man, that person might call you a nigga. And I mean, what you gonna do in that situation? Are you just gonna, oh baby, or you're not gonna act like that. You're not gonna do that because you're gonna come to a point to where you're gonna feel like you're gonna have to defend you and your people. And even with talking to other races about, the things that's going on in this world, is like they don't see things the same way we see it. They don't. They might, hey, our people came over here to look for jobs and blase, but when we think about this stuff, we like, man, they trying to put us at the bottom. So it's like they don't feel that way. Somebody told them we was lazy.
Right. Right.
So we gotta think about whenever we doing interracial dating, both don't I say love whoever loves you, feel that, but at the same time I think we gotta deeply think about that. I think we gotta pray about those things. Blacks, Afro Americans, we gotta think about those things. Cause I think that was sister, what's that, Yaz, about it was Nikita, um when she said we have to start thinking about the traumas that we didn't been through as far as a man and a woman. And I think that's something that we really don't do as a race. I think we quit to run to the next relationship with somebody else that we think that has our best interest, or you know s- be with somebody that we get away with a lot of these things, and I think um. But as far as going to another race, I don't know if there's. I feel like okay, we can do whatever we want to do with them, but I think deep down, deep down inside, I think we still want to be with our sisters, and that's something I said too. You know, is being with a Hispanic woman at a certain point in time. I was like, man, I ain't gonna lie, I love my race of women. I can't turn my back. I can't turn my back on them because I mean, it's something about them. It's a lot of things about our women, bro, that we can't. You know, no other women can them with like nothing. They can't mimic our women. I mean, as much as they try, and our women try to mimic, look at our women as influence, just like other men look at us as influence too. But nobody cannot mimic us, you know, and that's something that's deep, man. And we really do need to start recognizing each other's trauma and stop running away, you know, running from our problems or running away from each other. And we need to start embracing each other more as a race of people because and we need to figure it out as us first instead before we start mingling out and messing with all these other people that really don't have the same soul, you know, the soulful feeling or just the spiritual, I guess you could say spirituality um with each other, man, because I feel like we are really connected and we need to uh recognize that as man, you know. I mean, that's just my little 2 cents.
No, that's fantastic. That's, yeah, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. No, I totally agree. And you know, you hit on something very big too, T, when you were talking about like you got to think about it. Law is called. You a black man and you dealing with a white woman. How's this gonna go? How's this gonna pan out? If you in a spot right and you being racially discriminated against, sometimes you the only person in the room that can feel it. And it takes other black people to understand what you're talking about because if you try to explain this to somebody outside of your race, they don't see it. They think that you tripping, right? So, and then
Right.
then on top of that, we talking about some conversations that we have within black people, right? Like some conversations that we have that is basically a very close conversation. Like how do you have those same conversations with somebody of another race? It makes it very difficult, right? When we think about race, what I think of is families. That's all they are is families of the earth. That's it. You know, they got coined or gave this byword of race because everybody is trying to race, be first, get ahead, right? But what we're really dealing with is families of the earth. So there's nothing wrong with keeping your dealings within your family bloodline. It ain't nothing wrong with that. So definitely great points. And I definitely agree with you that our sisters bring a certain element that we just don't get anywhere else. You know, they help catapult us to certain levels. You know, if I'm driving a Toyota, you know the best mechanics to work on a Toyota. Who would you say is
It's probably an Asian, right?
right? But where would you take your car?
I mean, it really are. I'm a, I'm gonna take it to the dealership. I'm gonna take
Exactly.
it to the dealership.
Take it to
Yes,
that's the
yes,
it's the most
yes.
expensive, but it's the best place. If you got a Toyota to take it to a Toyota dealership, that's what you do, right? So
Right,
what I'm saying is that some of our problems are dealt better with internally. Sometimes a black woman is going to be able to understand you on a different or a higher level that nobody else can. Why? Because she was built for that. She's from the same cut and cloth.
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the same exact concept. If I got a Toyota, you know what I'm saying? The best place for me to take it to get everything done, especially for resale value, is a Toyota dealership. And that was pretty
Yeah.
good. Good, man. I appreciate that input. And I don't see color, you know what I'm saying? I call cap. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can see, so like if you were to point to a tree and you say what color is that, they tell you green. If you was to point to the sky, you say what color that, they say blue. And you point to a man, you say what color is that, they say
Yeah, it's it's BS, bro. It's BS, man. I mean, come on, bro.
they say I don't know.
I mean, I'm man, bro. I done had bro, like Hispanic girl, like I said, she feel that oh they just here to make a way for to better their families position in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, we've been here for umpteen amounts of years and we ain't got nothing.
Right.
They took our land from us. But we supposed to sit up here and just watch them, take our place while they position us at the bottom again.
Right. Right.
And I'm like, we went through so-called slavery.
Right. Right. I think the old.
So
Go ahead. I apologize. I didn't mean to cut you off.
now I'm just supposed to just sit here and be like, to take up for y'all, but y'all not taking up for us. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, man, okay, check out this scenario. What if your people was enslaved? How would you feel? No words, bro.
Right. It's a lack of relatability there. They can't possibly understand what it's like because we still feel the effects of that. Y'all familiar with epigenetics?
I ain't never heard of that.
Okay.
Lace me up.
Okay. I'm about to get um an official reading here so I can read you what epigenetics is so that you can understand. Because it's something that's passed down. It's something that's passed down into us where we're naturally gonna get it. Epigenetics is the study of how genes on or off without changing the actual DNA code. Think of DNA as the hardware and epigenetics as the settings or dimmer switches. So how it works, DNA is a little is basically. Let me see if I can break it down. So what epigenetics is, it passes along different things that happens in your lifetime down the line, right? So stress, sleep, diet, exercise, toxins, smoke, pollution, trauma, chronic inflammation, aging, medications. So this can be inherited within the DNA. So for us, we've inherited within the DNA. It tells a story along the line. So we actually
Mm,
feel that trauma that happened to our ancestors. We actually feel it, right? The fact that,
right.
we got sold on auction blocks. So when you talk about family, they could talk about they great, 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 great grandfather. We don't know past our grandfather. We be like, man, we don't even know. Most I know is my grandfather or my grandmother. I know that's the way it is for me. I don't really know too much beyond that. And I know for some black people, they may be able to relate to it because they had the family was more intact. That is very rare though. What who I am, I know my grandfather. My grandfather's grandparents were emancipated slaves, right? And I don't really know past my grandfather, and that's just due to the fact that that we were absent of the Torah. We didn't have any boundaries. We were absent of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High, right? And I
Right.
got this rhyme that I say often. I say, well, that I think I quoted it last time, but it's so relevant. And I said, we hate the God above us, so we hate the God in us. And so, like, because we don't recognize who we are, we don't recognize who we are. You know what I'm saying? When we look at a black woman, we're not looking at the image of Kukma. We're not looking at the image of wisdom. We're looking at just a black woman who's been marginalized and put down and shakes her ass on TV case may be. And when we watch them on TV, what do we see? We see them have attitude, or whatever the case may be. So we have this kind of skewed vision of ourselves. Even when we look at on a broader scale, the fact that sisters don't wear, not all sisters, but a great deal of sisters, when it comes to natural hair, we're not seeing. We're the group of people that's not our natural selves. When a white woman gets up in the morning, puts her hair in a bow, in a ponytail, she heads out the house, right?
Right.
When a Hispanic woman get up, she comb her hair or puts it in a little bun, she heading out the house, right? But that's not the same narrative for us. We're not accepted on the same plane. And that's largely because of societal pressures, but that's also speaking to the disconnect from ourselves, right? Shucks, man, I can go deep on that. You know what I'm saying. So, but that's on a larger scale. So I think that you hit on some great points. That what we're not really seeing, we're not really connecting with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And I think on a deeper level, if we marry outside of, that person is not going to be able to relate to us fully. We would have to assimilate or abandon certain history or thoughts or feelings that we have in order to assimilate with that person. We'd have to be absent of certain conversations that are had, especially those things that happen on a grand scale, right? Like what is the conversation like when you have a George Floyd? When George Floyd happens, right, and there's this discrimination that happens against blacks, or even on a more minor scale. Let's scale it back, right, because that's obvious. But let's scale it back to, I applied for a job against white counterparts, and I feel like I was discriminated against within that job. Within that job search or within that interview. How do you relate that to somebody who is not you? I don't know. That seems difficult to me.
Yeah.
That seems difficult to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, you hit on
Yeah. That's something.
some great points.
Yeah.
You got my wheels
Yeah.
turning.
That's. Yeah. I see. I mean, it's the truth, man. It really is the truth, man. And just, and I sat up there and I sat up there and I tried to, excuse me, bed it in there, like, like, are you listening to what I'm saying? And it wasn't no crack, in the skull, or not touching the brain. You know what I'm saying? So it's like one thing led to another. It's like we arguing now. So now it's like, okay, man, maybe I'm tripping. I'm gonna just sit back. I'm gonna chill out. But I'm like, dang, you really, you like black men, but you're not seeing what our people and went through. And I know you're not seeing what a black man go through, the struggle that a black man go through on a daily,
So let me ask you this.
and
Can I ask you something real quick? So
hmm
in those type of situations, because the background and the culture is totally different. And the same question goes for you. So conflict resolution happen. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're communicating certain things or you're pinpointing certain aspects, look like with some cultures they have a tendency to think, hey, you like I know what I've heard it said like with in Latino relationships, let that woman go ahead and say what she gonna say and say okay and get along and let her be right or whatever the case may be. But that's not always the case, because otherwise then you're gonna keep dealing with the same bull. So
hmm
I don't believe in that at
that's
all, because I'm not going to continue this cycle of dealing with the same thing. We're going to go this way, but we're not going to go this way. We're not going to go in circles. So
right.
so what is y'all's experience with conflict resolution when it comes to dealing with
I mean, just where I'm at right now, single. I mean, that's just facts, man. It's I prayed about it,
Yeah.
and as
Sweat.
that's where the Most High, that's where He sent me. Like, hey, man, hey, nah, focus on yourself,
Right.
focus on yourself, focus on your people,
Right. And you've been doing
you know,
and you've been doing a fire
because
job on that art too, boy.
appreciate that, I
Yeah. I see
appreciate that, yeah,
the skill level just
yeah.
up and up and up.
Yeah, man. I mean, just like I say, man, it would. I be honestly, I had to start seeing like, man, that fiery, just going at you, cursing you out, loud mouth, uh, I mean, beautiful person. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like when problems come afloat, it's like I'm cursing you out. It's your fault. It's all your fault. Um, and it's like belittling you as a person. I'm black now. I'm a black man. I'm an indigenous man, and it's just like you going at me, you tear me apart, and I'm like, bruh, I gotta take a deep breath.
Mm.
But God, am I supposed to be in? Hell nah. Get up out of here, man. Get up. And the crazy thing is, she basically did it for me. In the end, you feel what I'm saying? So, that's why I say, man, I feel like for as black men, I feel like we need to be with who we need to be with. You know what I'm saying? I feel like our women are the ones that we need to be with. But out of all our women, we need to pick the right one that's for us. Point blank, period.
Fact.
You know,
Yeah.
if 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 she mimics something that triggers you in your past trauma, maybe you don't need to be with her. Maybe she's gone along with the world, and you have to recognize that and go on with your life. And then it's so many beautiful women out there. But as many beautiful women out there that's so beautiful on the outside, it's a lot of ugly ones too.
Facts. Facts.
So and it's same go for men, but you know what it tell us, and evil man go be with a evil
Oh
woman,
yeah. Facts. Yeah. 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 I think that's like in
you
Sirach.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rock. Yep. So I mean, we really need to be, just like you diligent with the scriptures. You got women too, man. You have to be, and I mean, I feel like that woman gonna be in my, God gonna send forth that woman in my eyes. It's just not right now, just
Right.
not right now. But yeah, but that spicy talk, I don't like that, bro. With that, bro, I can't do that.
Right.
Either you with me or you not. Nah, I can't. I don't like all that going back and forth. I like peace, bro. I love to have fun, whatever we can joke, but man, all that cursing back and forth, I don't like that energy, that spirit, bro. That's not.
Yeah. No, I
Uh,
totally agree with you too. And when you think about it, Eve was brought from Adam. Eve was flesh of his flesh and bone of his bone. So what is a black woman? She's our Eve, flesh of our flesh,
right.
bone of our bone. And that's the same thing for each one. You know what I'm saying? So, that's pretty much how I see it. Like that's pretty crucial, to get with your image, something that's made of you and from you. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah,
and that connection. being able to have that connection is big. You know, just like you said, beauty is really from the inside out, not from the outside in, because there's a lot of women walking around, quote unquote, beautiful on the outside, and they not beautiful at all. You wouldn't dare try to be with them because they too ratchet or wild or whatever the case may be. You know, so I definitely advocate for us keeping within ourselves. And it's not, and I want to say this, it's not about color, it's about culture, right? And it's not the fact that
Yeah.
I see color, you know what I'm saying? But if an albino, let's say you have an albino black man or black woman, they still black or white. They still have all the features. They still act just like the same. You understand? Their hair is still, for the most people, that their hair is still black people hair. It may be blonde, but
Yeah.
they're still us. And when we dealing with that, that's just every once in a while. Like that's not a cultural norm. You know what I'm saying? Like that's like one in every, I don't know, some type of astronomical number. That's the minimum. You know what I'm saying? So when people say
Right.
they don't see color, they just living in delusion. You know, that's all that is. It's just it's what it's saying is, I'm gonna go to this scripture right quick, Deuteronomy 7:6. Deuteronomy 7:6. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." So when
Right.
we be deal with a flattening of that and a basement of that. We're dealing with an assimilation. You know, we're not dealing with the culture that keeps us bound. So,
Right.
man, it was another point that I was gonna make too, but I forgot. So this is a perfect place for me to transition into. Let me ask Mo, but show me how to do it. Give me one second. Oh, it's like that. Oh, kicking chain scenes during Mozart. Oh, okay. So I'll just let y'all know. So I'm gonna remove y'all from the panel real quick. Unless do y'all have anything else that y'all want to say or add in?
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna remove y'all from the panel real quick so I can show this next screen, and it's gonna be for next week's show.
Okay.
Is that it? All right, right here, baby. Thank you so much. All right, so for next week's show, this is what we're gonna be dealing with: how Black music shaped our minds. It's gonna be Tuesday at January 27th. How Black music shaped our mind. When you think about, if you do a deep dive and go back and listen to the songs that you used to listen to, especially like when you was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, you're horny, let's do it, grinding in the 6th grade, getting you dry humping your little thing off. You understand what I'm saying? And that music shaping our thinking. You know what I'm saying? The Aaliyah songs, the people that we have, and I say Aaliyah because I was thinking like some of the songs. Maybe you don't know. Oh no, that's 702 or Total. That's Total. Rain down on me. What was the other one that we said? Here, I'm gonna add them back now. I'm gonna add them back now. Come add them back for me real quick. Here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna add y'all back. I just wanted to show that real quick. So yeah, me and my wife, we were I was thinking about the song, right? And I had thought of Drag On. I don't know if y'all remember Drag On. Get your mic.
Yeah, Rough Riders.
Yeah, Rough Riders. Okay, so bet. Let me mute. Right. Okay, bet. So Rough Riders, right? So he was like, do you F them till they come? Yeah, we make them come. And I was like, man, when I was about 15, man, this lived in my head. You know what I'm saying? And so I thought about how that began to shape me. I was like, yo, you know, I'm a overcoming, I'm a delivered sex addict. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, yo, that really shaped me. I don't think I forgot about the song. You know what I'm saying? But then we think about BET Uncut. You know what I'm saying? We think about Tip Drill. We think about all these songs that really shaped us. We think about PWA. T, I know you probably know it. Seems to satisfy us all. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, you know, we got Atlanta here, so I don't know if you relate to these songs or not, but I know they was big in Texas. You know what I'm saying? So we got Devin the Dude. You know what I'm saying? I can't even quote these songs are so, you know what I'm saying? Let's show them what they made for. No need in us paying these hoes. Let's show them what they made for. That's what I grew up on. I'm talking about on repeat. You know what I'm saying? And we Freaknik era, right? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was probably one of my introductions to porn or something. Nigga, like once I started Freaknik, I was like, oh snap. This is different, right? Freaknik went down and then you had the Kappa Beach Party. You remember that, Terrence?
Oh yeah.
Come on, man. Come on, man.
Mm,
Come on,
well,
man.
nothing good out of this,
Come on,
man.
man.
Man, bro.
Only thing that was happening was it was
Doo.
public orgies. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, so that's what we'll be going in talking about next week. So you know, definitely, I want you guys to be able to chime in. And again, we unraveling the onion. We looking at those things that shaped us and made us who we are today. A lot of times we talk about waking up. So what does waking up mean? First, you got to be asleep, right? So these things that we were told or we were given as kids, that was like really a part of who we were as a culture, and it became such a norm. I was talking to my wife. This is just a little sneak peek, but who was I talking about, babe? The Memphis rapper. What's his name? Huh?
Aren't you what?
No, I was reading this. He big. He kind of big right now.
Oh, when I was doing the dancing?
Yeah, what's his name?
Deuce.
Deuce. I went into Deuce. I could rap. Deuce songs, right? Songs, and I could really pull up any one songs. Yeah, and that was when the kids danced to it. They juked to the music. So this is let me see. This is his song. I ain't never heard this song before in my life. So here's some lyrics. He say, "Cause we drunk drive Cadillacs, we never go far. But when you see us, mother effers better know who we are." So why is it drunk driving? The other one I was reading was break the law. And if I ever break a nigga, I break his jaw or something like that. So even when we think about the music, the only harm that we ever talked about doing was to each other because that's the culture that we built a culture to look at each other through a negative lens. Everything is negative. The battle culture, roasting. Roasting is funny, but somebody always comes away hurt, right? Somebody always comes away traumatized. Somebody always gets the short end of the stick, right? And so that's what we're going to be opening up, talking about next week. So I, definitely go through, think about the songs that you used to jam, whether you used to have mixtapes, what was the red light mixtapes, the little freaky mixtapes that we would have,
Faction, F faction.
F action. You had
Yep.
Scarface F phases. You must be used to all the finer things. That shaped me. That made me want to get money. It made me want to get money so I get women in cars. I figured that's the way that you had to get. I wanted a bunch of women, and I figured the way to get them was being successful, and that was a motivator for being successful, is having women walking around like they did in the videos with no clothes on, because this is the only representation that we saw of women growing up. So now, now we raise kids, and a lot of people raise kids, and they let their kids listen to the music. We when it comes to juking, I got a song that kind of got like some juking sound to it, and I want to, that's part of my plan, is shoot it out there and see if I can get some of them, to dance to it. But the music that they dancing to, you can't even watch the dancing videos because the music's so toxic. You know what I'm saying? It's poisoning you from the inside out. Shit, like, yeah, you can't live like that. You live like dead, jailed, divorced, and everything else. It enables you to be more impulsive, to be more strong in your flesh. It ain't nothing good about that. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we'll be talking about next week. And remember, we unraveling the onion one layer at a time. So for coming through, and yeah, definitely. We do have a page, Unraveling the Onion page is just being built up right now, so we can't go live from it. So definitely, join that page, and yeah. Did you put that page in the chat or something? Okay. So with that being said, thank you, Yasi, for participating and following through. Thank you, T, for coming through and giving some great input. Our next episode is gonna be next Tuesday at 9 p.m. God willing, and every week we're coming back with the same heat, same vigor, and that's gonna be our topic: how Black music shaped our minds. With that being said, shalom.